corruption is such an incredible hindrance to getting anything done in a society to make it forward progress. And my worldview had been more US centric when I was younger. And as I've just studied the world more and had to work in more places in the world, it's amazing how much corruption there still is. The shift to a technologically enabled world, I think, is a major force against it because it's harder to hide stuff.
Mm.
And I do think corruption in the world will keep trending down.
Because of its exposure through technology.
It comes at a cost, and I think I am very worried about how far the surveillance state could go here. But in a world where payments, for example, are no longer like bags of cash, but done somehow digitally, and somebody, even if you're using Bitcoin, can watch those flows, I think that's like a corruption reducing thing.
I agree, but I'm very worried about central bank digital currency and that being tied to a social credit score.
That's super against.
Yeah, that scares the shit out of me.
Super against.
And that the push to that is not for the overall good of society. That's for control.
Yeah, I think there's many things that I'm disappointed that the US government has done recently. But the war on crypto, which I think is we can't give this up, we're going to control this and all that's the thing that
makes me quite sad about the country. But then you also see with things like FTX, this can get, without regulation and without someone overseeing it, this can get really fucked.
Yeah, I'm not anti-regulation. I think there's clearly a role for it. And I also think FTX was a sort of comically bad situation that we shouldn't learn too much from
scenario.
either. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a fun one. I love that story.
You clearly...
I really do. I love the fact that they were all doing drugs and having sex with each other.
Yeah, no, it had every part of the dramas of it's a gripping story because it had everything there.
They did their taxes with, what was the program that they used? QuickBooks. They're dealing with billions of dollars.
You clearly want enough regulation that can't happen, but they're
well, I'm not against that happening. I'm against them doing what they did.
No, I mean, you want enough thing that FTX can't lose all of its depositors' money.
Yes.
But I think there's an important point here, which is you have all of this other regulation that and it didn't keep us safe. And the basic thing, which was that was not all of the crypto stuff people were talking about.
Yes. The real fascinating crypto is Bitcoin. To me, that's the one that I think has the most likely possibility of becoming a universal viable currency. And it's limited in the amount that there can be. People mine it with their own computer. It's that to me is very fascinating. Yeah. And I love the fact that it's been implemented. And that at least I've had Andreas Antonopoulos on the podcast, and when he talks about it, he's living it. He's spending all of his money. Everything he gets paid is in Bitcoin. He pays his rent in Bitcoin. Everything he does is in Bitcoin.
I helped start a project called WorldCoin a few years ago. I've gotten to learn more about the space. I'm excited about it for the same reasons. I'm excited about Bitcoin too. But I think this idea that we have a global currency that is outside of the control of any government is a super logical and important step on the tech tree.
Yeah, agreed. Why should the government control currency? The government should be dealing with all the pressing environmental, social, infrastructure issues, foreign policy issues, economic issues, the things that we need to be governed in order to have a peaceful and prosperous society that's equal and equitable.